You might have seen them, might have heard them, but they were there, and they were quietly and methodically building a nation. Women. African American women. Women of courage. Women of strength. We call them Freedom's Sisters. Freedom Sisters, a traveling exhibition underwritten by Ford Motor Company Fund and created by the Cincinnati Museum Center and the Smithsonian Traveling Exhibition Service, is an innovative and artistic tribute to 20 extraordinary African American women.
We're talking about 20 incredible women who not only have a story to tell about what they accomplished, but how it affected others.
I always say the hand that rocks the cradle controls the world. Women control the world.
We know men in the civil rights movement, we know women in the women's suffrage movement, but so often we really don't understand the women that were behind the civil rights movement.
I thought what we really need to do is celebrate these women. We need to celebrate them, we need to celebrate their missions, we need to celebrate everything that they did, not just for women and not just for African Americans, but for our entire country. So that's what this exhibit's going to do. It's going to celebrate these women and what they did.
The African American women profiled range from key 19th century historical figures to contemporary leaders who have fought for equality for people of color.
Quite frankly, the hardest part of the project has been deciding which 20 women we were going to choose because there were so many to pick from, but that's a great problem to have.
The exhibition is coming to life in the Cincinnati Museum Center's fabrication shop.
You have all these men dressed in dark suits, and we have her in a long white coat, which works perfectly.
It's phenomenal to see the words plus the images become three-dimensional.
At Ford, we have a long history of celebrating African American heritage through programs like the Ford Freedom Award, which honors African Americans who have made outstanding contributions to the world. Ford also invests in African American legacy by supporting the National Civil Rights Museum, the African American Experience Fund of the National Park Foundation, the new memorial dedicated to Martin Luther King Jr. on the National Mall, and other important African American programs.
Really, when you look at Ford Motor Company, our success was built on Main Street, not on Wall Street, and that's what part of what this project is all about.
The exhibition is designed to have a high-impact approach, conveying unique educational messaging through multimedia interactives, video, striking text and graphic panels. Participants will be touched, moved, and inspired by this thought-provoking experience.
They're also going to light up part of a Rosa Parks quote right there.
Hey, it works. At the very end of the exhibition, there's a little resource area. There will be a photo booth so that children can have their photos taken and they can put themselves into a book along with pictures of these 20 women.
In the fall of 2007, in our nation's capital, Ford brought together living legends from the exhibit, national dignitaries, and community leaders from across the country to celebrate the women being honored in Freedom Sisters.
It's just awesome to think that you would bring together something like this. And I just don't know how to tell you how I feel to be a part of it. And I really appreciate the Ford Motor Company even thinking in this direction.
Oh, my dear sister, I am so excited and so very proud, and I feel so honored to be a part of an exhibit that is called Freedom Sisters.
It's time for the world to know what we've always known. I knew about all of these women in the past. I've studied them in other forms of my work in other museums, but I've never delved into their backgrounds with such detail.
Each one of us has had a vision, perseverance, a sense of self. You can't go out and talk about changing the world if you don't have a sense of self.
By this exhibit, I hope it's challenging all of us to rethink what we can do. And I know that I have that feeling, that so long as I live, I want to be struggling for justice.
These amazing women are women who have uplifted the African American race. And people kind of forget that sometimes, that we stand on not just some of the men, but the women's backs who have done these things. And the impact of this exhibit is going to blow people away.
This story is a story of the backbone of what enabled what we know of as the civil rights movement to have taken place.
Freedom Sisters is just the latest example of our commitment to diversity and the commitment to the African American community, and we're so proud to be hosting this event here in Washington, D.C.
Throughout its 3-year nationwide tour, this interactive exhibit is expected to attract people of all ages and backgrounds.
I want my daughters and my son to visit this exhibit. I heard the stories from my mother and my grandmother, and we really want this to be an exhibit where you can touch and feel and try and really put yourselves in the footsteps of these women and the things that they had to do to really move forward as they did.
Freedom Sisters of the future. They're young girls we see every day, and they come from a long history of families and extended families who've worked with them, taught them who they are as well as whose they are. They have the Spirit of God and the power in them. Let them come forth. Young women today, rise.